Okay, we're now live. Welcome everybody to the third meeting of the Sir David Amess Children's Parliament. And we're meeting here, of course, on the day before the anniversary of the passing of our founder, Sir David Amess. Welcome to everybody. There's up to 300 people on this call, possibly slightly more. So a lot of people, only some of you will get a chance to speak. Remember, the text is a really good place to put your points of view, because I have someone called Tilly sitting next to me who reads the text and advises me when it might be a good thing to ask somebody who sent an interesting text. So please go on the text and talk with each other about what we're doing, because not that many people get to speak live, but you all get a chance to be on the text. So that's a wonderful way to do things. A couple of technical issues, please. Can you leave your cameras on and your microphones off? But of course, if you're asked to speak, switch your microphone on until you finish speaking. We close, you can't join this call all the way through the call. You can join at the beginning, and you can join around 4:20, and you can join around 4:45. This is to stop all the messages that come up when people join, and it rather ruins the call for everybody. So unfortunately, if you get thrown off the call, you can only come back on at about 4:20 or just before, and at 4:45. And the call is meant to last until around about 5:30. We tend to sort of try and keep it to time if we can. So once again, welcome to the Sir David Amess Children's Parliament. And I wanted to talk about Sir David for a few moments before we get going on our debates. Tomorrow it will be a year since Sir David Amess died, and he's sorely missed. He's a family man with a wonderful smile who loved children and loved Parliament. He campaigned passionately on a number of issues, including animal rights, and had pushed for many years the Southend to become a city, something that eventually happened in March. And we're here in Southend, and so it's something which means a lot to us. And to change the Southend status, it was marked by an official visit for the then Prince Charles and Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, who came to visit to help us become a city. Sir David would have been proud of that, as I hope he would have been proud of our Parliament, which he helped create. Sir David is our founder and our friend, and I'm sure I speak for everybody on this Parliament when I say we miss him very, very dearly. So we're going to start our debates now. And the first debate, which you know, which will start in a few minutes, is about the causes that King Charles, I should say, should get involved in. But before that, we've got an interview, and I'm going to ask Katie. Katie, are you online? Hello, Katie. Katie, are you unmuted? Wait a minute, it's not a good start, is it? Just waiting to see if Katie is online. Just give me a second, because she's going to start the whole thing off. Richard Palmer, are you here with us now? We haven't got. One second, everybody. Sorry. One second. We're just waiting for Richard Palmer to get online. We can't start yet, Katie, because of. What? Sorry about this. Go. Yes. Go on, Taylor. Okay, we're going to come back to Richard, I think. 1 second. I do apologise, everybody. We're just trying to get this thing sorted out. Okay, we're going to have to come off Katie because she's going to introduce Richard, and Richard's not here. So we'll have to continue with the Parliament until he logs on. So we're going to start with our main debate now. And we'll hear from Richard Palmer, who is the royal correspondent for the Express, in a few minutes. But the first debate is about which causes King Charles III, the new king, should prioritise to best support the future of young people. So I'm looking for people. You can put your hands up. You can you can put your hands up. You can go on the text and let us know if you've got a point to be made about that. But is Tess Coward online from Kidmore and C of E Primary? Tess, are you there? Hello, Tess.
Hi.
Hi, Tess. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. You wanted to make a point about something to do with what King Charles might do.
Oh, yes. My statement in question for you is, since the COVID-19 pandemic, there are more children than ever needing extra support with their mental health.
Sorry, I think we missed. I don't know if everyone else did, but I missed the second half. Could you just go through it again for us, Tess? Would you mind reading it again? Yeah.
Yes, of course. My statement in question for you is, since the COVID-19 pandemic, there are more children than ever needing extra support with their mental health. Could King Charles ensure that there is enough mental health support available for young people?
Okay, who'd like to respond to that? Who'd like to say something in reply to that? You know, should King Charles concentrate on the mental health of young people? Who we got here? What about Archie? Is Archie there? Archie Sheard?
Yeah, so if you want to.
No, okay. Okay, that's better. Okay, so who's got their hand up? I've got Una. Is Una and Esme? Are you there? You've got your hand up. Do you want to say something?
We think that King Charles should help and support children who are homeless, and
Yeah, good. So you think he should support children who are homeless, and homelessness affects your mental health, doesn't it?
Yeah.
As well. So these 2 points are very closely combined. I don't think, but that's interesting, isn't it? That both the people who've contributed so far think King Charles should deal with child issues, and that's very interesting. Who else has a point about this? I'm not seeing people's names. This is a problem. How about Isabel from? Is it Baddow Hall? Isabel? Hello, Isabel.
Hello. I would also strongly agree with them.
Yep. Okay. And anything in particular? Are you mental health, young children in need? What sort of things do you feel that Prince Charles should concentrate on? You do you feel he should concentrate on children's issues primarily, rather than adults and things like that? So really, children's issues is what you feel should be concentrated on. It's interesting, isn't it? So far, we've had a lot of calls for children's issues. Joshua from Queen Emma Primary School.
I think that King Charles III should prioritise sports programmes in this community.
Great. Are you a sportsman yourself, Joshua?
Yeah, I'm a sports leader in my school, Mr. Speaker.
Are you? Very good. And what sort of things do you think King Charles should support then, sports-wise? What type of sports?
I think like more football activities and like different sports like hockey, netball, basketball, yeah, cricket and stuff like that, to encourage outdoor activities.
Good. Yes, it's really interesting, this, because people are going for support to young people, their mental health, their activities, looking after them. Very interesting to see that, and that's a new angle, isn't it, to help them do sports? Because what good, Joshua, what sort of good do you think sports does for young people?
It keeps them healthy and
Keeps them healthy, right? And that's not just physical health, is it?
And it also reduces your stress.
Right.
Stress.
Great point. Well done. That's very good. How about Theo from Clatford C of E Primary in Hampshire? Is Theo on the call?
Yes.
Hi, Theo. How are you?
Hi. Very good, thank you.
Oh, I'm slipping here. Hold on. Good. Go ahead. You had an interesting point to make, I think.
We think that by supporting older people's mental health, it will feed down through the generations, and that will be able to help the younger people.
Okay, who's that you've got sitting next to you, Theo?
My name's Maddie.
Okay, and so you think we should help older people? In what sort of way do you think we should help older people?
Try and help cure their mental health so they can try help the children.
Okay, so the adults are better prepared to help the children.
Yeah.
That's good. And do you have any ideas of what sort of things that could be done to help these people?
If people could financially support, then that would be able to help, I think.
Good. Okay. And so we're still on the same focus, aren't we? Really, broadly, we're on this focus that really helping young people develop and keep their mental and physical health. It's certainly a consistent theme that I'm hearing from all the people here. James from Pembury in Kent, how about you?
Hello, Mr. Speaker. I think that children's mental health is really important because it helps. If they have better mental health, then they can go on to do better things. For example, they can be a climate change hero, or they can help people over in Kenya with the world water crisis. You can do anything if you have good mental health.
Well, that's very interesting, isn't it? And why do you think that is? I mean, what is it about good mental health that helps you do those things?
Because you're more confident and you think to do more. Whereas if you have bad mental health, you're too scared to do any big job and you'll never really achieve anything.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's really great points and very well put as well. Thank you so much, James. Has anyone else got a point to follow up on that? We've had a lot of commentary about mental health and how people should be helping both adults and children with their mental health, or King Charles should be. Are there any other points on that? How about Beatrice from Helmden Primary? Beatrice, you online?
Mr. Speaker, I think that the thing King Charles should prioritise most is the environment, when the next generations need to have a better world to live in.
Well, that's interesting. So the whole conversation is taking a bit of a turn here. Our member for Helmden Primary is saying that he needs to be concentrating on the environment. Now, is there any support for that viewpoint from people here? Who's got their hand up here? Sorry, we're just having a bit of a problem seeing people's names here. Okay, here, Archie from Sacred Heart Primary School. You've got your hand up. What would you like to say?
I would like to say that we could lower the electricity bills so then more people could get more electric cars to help the environment.
Fantastic. And how do you think Prince Charles could help us with that, to lower the electricity bills?
He could tell the government to lower it.
He could, couldn't he? Yes. So you're suggesting, and this is really getting interesting now, you're suggesting that Prince Charles should get involved with the government and help to lower electricity bills.
And it will also help families.
And also help families, right? Yes, exactly. Who else would like to follow up on that point? I'm having trouble on my computer seeing your names. So I'm having to sort of go across. So we've got Felicity Davis. Is that Felicity? You've got your hand up. Felicity. Hello, Felicity.
Hello.
Oh, you're there. Good. Where are you, Felicity? I can't see you. Hold on. We'll get a good look at you in a minute. Hello, Felicity. How are you?
Hello.
How old are you, Felicity?
I think that King Charles,
Yes.
to help with anti-bullying campaign.
Right, that's interesting. How old are you, Felicity?
7 years old.
7, that's fantastic. Well done for being on the Parliament, Felicity. Absolutely fantastic. Good for you. And you think that the primary the primary aim for Prince Charles should be to deal with bullying, because you feel that's a really, so you're going back really to children's, mental health and physical health, aren't you? And bullying. I can't imagine there's many people are going to disagree with you there. So you really feel you'd like to, do you have any idea how he can help? Could he talk to some people for you? Who could he talk to, do you think? I think you're muted, Felicity. Hold on.
Teachers, parents,
Right.
any trusted adult.
Good. Fantastic. Okay, so you could certainly help in that way. Who has that? Thank you, Felicity. Who else has got a point that we can? Is it Devon and Sophie? We've got Devon and Sophie there.
Mr. Speaker, referring to my honourable friend's point, I believe youth homeless should be tackled by funding places to work, plus education, safe places to live, such as shelters that were abandoned buildings.
Okay, and this is the adult homeless you're talking about, I assume, is that right?
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
And you really think that's I think, aren't I right in saying that Prince Charles used to be involved in that when he was a prince, but you would like him to stay involved in that, is that right?
Yeah.
Yep, okay. And where are you from, guys? You two?
West Midlands.
And did you see many homeless people around there?
Yeah. Yep.
You do? Okay, well, it's obviously on your minds and a very good thing to get involved in, I'm absolutely sure. Let me see if we've got a few other people. How about Lucy from Chorley All Saints Church of England Primary School? Are you online, Lucy?
Hi.
Hello, Lucy. What point would you like to make?
Well, Mr. Speaker, our society is changing rapidly through increases in immigration and the pandemic and economic instability, all of which are affecting the lives and futures of young people. As head of state, how will King Charles represent a diverse and changing community and bring people together to form a strong, cohesive future society?
Wow, that's very well put, indeed, Lucy. And well spoken, but an extremely good point. So Lucy's talking about diversity, about coping with diversity and how Prince Charles can get involved in that. What sort of things do you think he can do to help there, Lucy?
We could make everyone feel equal, and we could like.
I mean, that's a good point. If you make everybody feel equal, who could he speak to, do you think, that might be able to help us with these sorts of things?
We could, the government could help with it, and King Charles could help with it.
Right. And do you think it would make a difference if King Charles was involved?
Personally, yeah.
You do, because you think people listen to him. Is that your point? So it's a really interesting point, I think, and one that I'm sure we'll all agree with, that the acceptance of diversity in this country is very, very important. So who else do you think would like to follow up there? Just look at my list here. How about Florence from Darlinghurst Academy?
Hello.
Hello, Florence. How are you today?
Good, thank you.
You've got a point to make. Yes, about food banks, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Within the next year, there will be 500,000 children in poverty. Can King Charles help the food banks and schools to help these children and their families?
Great. Okay. So food banks. Why are food banks so important? Do you feel, Florence? Why are you stressing food banks?
Because if you can't afford to get any food, or
Exactly. Right. Okay. So it keeps food in the mouths of people who maybe can't afford it, right? And you feel that's really a priority. I've got a couple of hands up here. Who have we got here? Sorry. Just getting a couple of hands. Oh, I can see a couple. I'm trying to just read the names. How about Thomas? I don't know where you're from, Thomas.
I'm from Chilwell C of E.
Hi. Go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah.
Do you have a point to make? You had your hand up.
Yes. A boy in our school yesterday, he was walking home and somebody took his bike. So
Right.
I was thinking that the king could increase security around like England, just so it never happens again.
Yeah, that's horrible, isn't it? And did you know this boy whose bike was stolen?
Yes, he's in my class. I was
Ah.
just behind him walking home, and like everybody stopped and was like helping him, but the guy like had just took it and ran.
And do you think security is a big issue anyway?
Yes,
You
because
do.
like it's happened a lot. Like in there's a football place called Camp Hill in Liverpool, and the other day that got set on fire.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Yes, so we need.
And that's where you are. You're in Liverpool, are you?
Yes, we're in Liverpool.
Okay. Yeah. So it's up there in Liverpool. You think security is a big issue?
Yes. So
And I would imagine it is in other parts of the country as well. So I'm wondering if anyone else has got something to say about this. So I'm having a bit of a. Okay. So we've got Sharon. Is that too many? Is Sharon got a point to make? Where are they from? Do you know?
Yeah, is that us?
Yes, it is. How are you
Yeah,
today, Sharon?
Sorry, I didn't know how to change the name on it. I've got Lola here.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's Lola who wants to speak, is it?
Yeah.
Lola, how are you today?
Good.
Good. What would you like to say?
I would like to say that I think King Charles should think about trying to stop deforestation and like to save trees and animal habitats.
Okay, so you're bringing this back to the environment, really, aren't you? So your vote for Prince Charles is to do something environmental, specifically deforestation. Can you tell us anything about deforestation? Can you, for those of us who don't know what it means?
To stop cutting down the trees. So instead, though, deforestation means that you are cutting down the trees.
Right. Okay. And you think the trees should not be cut down? And is that because of the animals that live there mainly?
And yes, and also because trees also make oxygen.
Right. So it's very important, isn't it? Yes. Good. Lola, how old are you?
10.
10. Good. Well done. A very well made point. Thank you very much. Who else have we got here who would like to make a point? Well done indeed. How about oh, they keep disappearing. Hold on a second. How about Sharon James? Do you have a point to make?
That was just us. It was me and Lola.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm getting confused with the name.
Just while we're on, Mr. Speaker, King Charles's mum, the Queen, she had a programme of planting trees, and we had a tree planted for the Jubilee. So it'd be nice if King Charles carried on that his mum's legacy.
How lovely! It was a good thing to do, isn't it, for your deforestation, to start planting trees, and hopefully that is something that that can be helped. That we can help with. How about I don't know if she's from Hartsbourne Primary. Jessica, are you there?
Yeah, Jessica has a question.
So I like for more PEs in primary school, and for lots of kids to learn instruments, and for kids to be taught how to plant things and grow fruit and vegetables.
Oh, lovely. Okay. And who have you got there with you, Jessica? Who else is there with you?
Blake, Belle, Johnny,
Edie and Elwood.
Oh, so you've got a lot of people. And which school are you all you guys from?
Where are we from?
We're from Hartsbourne.
Well, welcome to the Students' Parliament. It's good to see so many of you on the Parliament. And Jessica, if I could just come back to you, Jessica. Why do you want those things in school? You mentioned PE and you know, why do you want those?
Because after lockdown, lots of people have just been inside a lot, and all those lots of stuff involves like outside.
Good.
Growing stuff.
Excellent. Well, thank you. That's a good point. Well made. Back to our mental health, I think, a bit. We can stop the debate a bit now because we have Richard Palmer now ready. So, Katie, can you do your introduction now? Katie, you on?
Yes.
We might have the wrong Katie. It's Katie from St. Pierre's School. Oh, there's Katie. Hello, I can see you.
Yes. Hello.
Go ahead, Katie.
We are very honoured to have with us this evening Mr. Richard Palmer, the Royal Editor for the Express newspaper. Richard was the first royal correspondent on Twitter, and he gives regular interviews on television and radio. Mr. Palmer began his career at Ealing Gazette and was also a senior reporter at the Express. He has a reputation for the ethical journalism and is an avid supporter for Portsmouth Football Club. Mr. Palmer, thank you so much for being with us this evening. I suppose the question for most on everybody's mind is, did you ever meet the Queen, and do you have any stories you can tell us about her?
Thank you, Katie. I've been listening with interest to this. I was struggling to get in originally, and I found myself answering a questionnaire about which school I was at and giving my parents' name. And it's actually 50 years since I left primary school, I realised. Yes, I did meet the Queen a few times, and really just making small talk. The first time I didn't speak to her, she spoke to me. I was covering a story in Brighton, and she thought I was standing next to a group of children, and she thought I was a teacher and started asking me which school they were from. And I just froze in terror because I thought, oh no, she thinks I'm a teacher. I'm not a teacher. I've had a number of chats with her since, but really just very polite, normal conversation. I know the new Queen Consort much better. She always says hello, or normally says hello, Richard, when we're out on engagements. And the new King, well, he knows my face. I've been covering him a long time, but he does get mixed up quite a lot. The last time I spoke to him, he asked me if I was still working for ITV News. And I'm not the only one. There have been others as well who, I think he knows our faces, but he can't quite remember which newspapers and TV companies we worked for.
Thank you. What the Children's Parliament would like to hear from you is your thoughts on King Charles III and how he needs to change his life as Prince Charles.
Well, okay, he's in a different job now, and he spent most of his life campaigning on things and sometimes being quite outspoken, and he can't really be as outspoken now because he's king. And so I think he'll have to leave that much more to Prince William and Kate, the Princess of Wales. But I think he will still try to use what they call his convening powers, his ability to bring people together to discuss big issues like the environment, for example, because that is an issue, climate change, it affects us all. And so I think he might still have conferences maybe at Buckingham Palace where people can come and talk about it. He just won't perhaps express his own personal views as much. I think he wants his reign to be slightly different. I think he wants members of the royal family to make a difference, to find areas, issues that they can highlight where they can make life better for people, but they have to be very careful that they don't interfere in party politics. So we can all agree that, for example, bullying is a bad thing, so that we should work to highlight the bad effects of bullying and stop people doing it. And we can also do, the classic issue, I suppose, one that's come up already here is mental health. And William and Kate and Prince Harry were very good, I think, at highlighting an issue that affected a whole generation of young people, just a bit older than you, where a lot of people were really having difficulty coping with modern life. And I have to say, I thought I didn't really get it at the time, but I know people in my family, children who've had issues, and I think they were absolutely right to do that. So I think all of those sort of issues, as long as they don't, the main thing they've got to avoid is saying something that supports one political party's view and is opposed to another political party's view.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you, Katie, as well for your questions. Does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask Mr. Palmer here before we go into the? I'm not seeing these names on the questions. Your name? How about Ahmad? Ahmad, have you got a question?
Yeah, so why do electric cars cost more than normal diesel and gas cars if we're trying to make a real impact on the environment?
Well, I'm not an expert in that field, sadly. What I can say is that the King and other members of his family have taken the lead in using electric cars, and they've brought in charging points at the royal palaces. But as I say, it's not my specialism, but I think the answer is really that when new technology comes in, it costs a lot of money to develop, and so people charge higher prices to get the money back. And then as things become more common, more widely used, then hopefully the price can come down.
Thank you. Okay, good. How about Grace from Marlborough? Are you have you got a question there, Grace? Grace from Marlborough? Are you muted, Grace? Because I can see you're online, but I can't hear you. Really like to hear from Grace because I think she's 6 years old, and it would be really nice to hear from her. But I'm just.
Hi, I'm Grace's mum. Grace is a bit apprehensive to talk, but we would really like King Charles to. We live by the seaside, and we're really aware of all the plastic on our beaches, and we often go and pick it up. And Grace would really like this issue to be addressed.
Is that the sort of thing you think King Charles can get involved in, Mr.
Absolutely.
Yes, I think so, and indeed, and other members of the family. In fact, a couple of years ago, I live near Portsmouth, and the Earl and Countess of Wessex, Prince Edward, and his wife Sophie came down to Southsea Beach and spent about an hour and a half picking up plastic and other litter on the beach. And indeed, the King has been campaigning, talking about the dangers of plastic pollution for more than 50 years now. It was one of the first things he really spoke about as a young man. And when he first spoke about it, I think people thought he was a bit weird, a bit strange to talk about plastic. But in fact, he's proved ahead of his time. And I know it is something that he's really concerned about and thinks that we need to do more about.
Wonderful, thank you. And Mr. Palmer, thank you so much. Can I thank you for coming on and being part of our Children's Parliament? It's lovely to hear your views and get a bit of inside knowledge from the way the royalty works. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
And everybody, now is our first vote. So on the screen in a moment, you're going to see a little app by which you can vote. It should appear on your screen in your text. And we're going to vote on the following question. It'll be on the screen. So, what do you consider the most important issue King Charles should support? And you've got one option which says you can actually vote that King Charles should not get involved in any issues. I think that's a lot of what Mr. Palmer said, isn't it? But you can choose human rights, animal rights, climate change, deforestation, or disaster relief. So will you pick your answer, and I'll give you a few moments to do that, and then we'll have the results of the vote a little later in the debate. If you have something else, I think you can fill that in as well. We'll get all your answers together. Let's give you a moment to do that. And while we're just doing the vote, so can I just check that Charlotte Hem is online? Charlotte, are you there? While we just wait for it and see if Charlotte will come online. I wonder if the technical people can check and see if Charlotte's in the lobby, because she's quite important. She's meant to be introducing our next guest.
Hello?
Is that Charlotte?
Yeah.
Okay, just give us 1 second. I wanted to make sure we had you online, Charlotte. So I'm just waiting for the signal to know that we're ready for you to introduce our next guest while everybody's getting on with their votes. Okay. And do we have Mrs. Dance online now? We'll be within a second, don't worry, guys. Just waiting for Mrs. Dance, who's our next guest, to come online, and then Charlotte will do the introductions. Okay, all right.
Sorry.
Again, I think it looks like the speaker is just delayed getting onto their computer. So, but let's start our debate. Now, I'll interrupt it again when the speaker comes, the guest speaker comes online. We've got a very interesting guest speaker this time, but we're going to talk about online safety. And I think Hugo is going to kick us off. Hugo from Essex. Hugo, are you there?
Hello?
Hello, Hugo. I can hear you, but I can't see you. But there you go. You have something to say about online safety, right?
Yes, I do. I put bullying among school children isn't a new problem, but the internet has created new ways for young people to gang up on each other, encouraging someone to make nasty comments on social media or joining in to impress your friends. Could we bring in a program to work with the bullies rather than the victims, to teach them that what they are doing is wrong, and to help them know how to act?
There's an interesting question, isn't it? So really, when we get online bullying, should we really try and help the bullies to behave better more than we should actually try to help the people who've been victimized? I wonder if anyone's got something about that. So what about Ibrahim? Ibrahim, are you there? From David Livingstone, I think it is.
Thank
you there?
Thank you. Can you hear me?
No?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello, is that, who we got there? Is that Ibrahim?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Social media companies should take the safety of the users seriously, especially for the younger ones. They should take a proactive approach to self-regulate the platforms. Perpetrators might create fake profiles to try to contact young users. The company should make it a legal requirement to carry out ID checks and to ensure that where the account belongs to a person under the age of 18. The account should be verified within the ID of a parent or guardian to prevent any anonymous harmful activity, providing traceability if an offense occurs. Misusers should be punished for the crime, and therefore a legislation should be passed on this.
Well, thank you. It's a very well prepared statement. Thank you very much. Good to hear. How about Amara from Wolverhampton?
Hello.
Go ahead, Amara.
So my question's all about mental health, and more than half of the children say they sleep with a mobile phone beside their bed, according to an annual survey. This can be harmful and can cause headaches, sleep problems, and depression. What is being done to prevent this in young people of today?
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Oscar from Milford, I think you had a bit of a response about that. I find that very interesting. I think a lot of people do that. A lot of people doing this.
Also got some ways on how King Charles could prevent this.
Oh, why don't you share those with us as well? That'd be interesting. Go ahead.
So I think he could start a campaign. He could make more people aware, and he should maybe make advertisements on TV and make sure that everyone has time limits on devices.
Interesting, thank you. Okay, does anyone have a response to that? Who we got here? How about Jamie from Sacred Heart? Jamie from Sacred Heart, do you have something to say about the online safety? Okay, actually, I don't know if we're going to hear from Jamie, but we now have our guest ready. So, Charlotte, are you ready to make your introduction, Charlotte?
Hello. Sorry,
hello,
Mr. Speaker. My name's Scarlett rather than Charlotte.
Oh, I have Charlotte written. I'm very sorry, Charlotte.
Right. Archie Battersby was very much in the news this summer. A lovable and bubbly 12-year-old boy who died after being found collapsed in his bedroom. We are deeply honoured to have Archie's mother, Holly, dance with us this evening. Miss Stans, can I say on the behalf of the entire Children's Parliament how sorry we are to hear about what happened to Archie. I wonder if you would mind talking to us about his story and perhaps giving us all your advice following those dreadful events.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Dance. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you very much for your message.
Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. Hi. Okay, I'm Holly. Thank you very much for your message there, and your speech there about Archie. That means a lot. Thank you very much. I do think the online safety thing most definitely has to be addressed. I think these children have got some very valid points here. It's not 100% known exactly what's happened to Archie, whether it was an online challenge that he was participating in. We're still not sure. However, I think the whole raising awareness of this it's got to be a positive thing, most definitely. I just want to ask the children, really, with regards to if you saw something online that you found alarming or distressing or worrying, what do you think you do? Would you report it to the social media sites? Would you talk to your parents? What would you do?
How about Arvin? Arvin, are you able to answer that question about what you'd do?
Yes. First of all, I would tell a guardian or a parent near me so I can share my problems with them. Therefore, Therefore, therefore there'll be no danger. Therefore, there'll be no danger, and I shall not be harmed.
That's good. And when you children, obviously there's age restrictions on a lot of these apps that are available. I think there's something like 52 apps that are actually available. Now the age limit restrictions, I think that it's very important to keep in mind that there's a lot of people out there that are actually a lot older, but appear to be a lot younger than they are online to sort of join in with these youngsters. So yeah, I think it's very important that you don't accept anybody that you don't personally know. Also, a couple of things that have been pointed out to me is when you set up your profile, do you do things like when you're taking your pictures and things, do you make sure that your school logos are covered if you're taking a picture or putting pictures up with your school tops on? Are your school logos covered? Are your club logos covered? Things that can highlight where you are your locations off? Yeah, that's a general question to the children, really.
How about Josh from All Saints? You seem to have an opinion on this.
Hi, Josh.
Working.
Yes, you can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead. Good to see you. Go ahead, Josh.
What was the question you asked again?
Okay, so when you set up profiles, you make your social media profiles. Do you hide things like, if, say for example, now you took a picture of yourself now, would you hide your school logo? Because obviously something like that you might not sort of think about, to somebody else, that would show your location and what school you go to. So again, that's a safety issue.
I probably would cover up the school logo if I were to take a photo.
That's good. That's good. Brilliant. Also, if you saw something alarming and that you thought it looked really daring, Josh, and all your friends were talking about maybe having a go at this, what would you do? But if you thought it looked quite alarming or distressing or a bit worrying, what would you do?
If it looks alarming, I probably wouldn't do it. I probably just wouldn't do it.
Okay. Would you tell a parent?
Yes.
Yeah, good boy.
We've got a few people at Otley All Saints Primary, I think, on who would like to hear from on these matters.
Okay.
Are you there, guys? We've got I think Evelyn and Stevie and Scarlett. Tabitha, are you there?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi. What do you feel about that question? About what would you do if someone was trying to make you do something unusual online that you weren't comfortable with?
I would definitely not do it, first of all. I would probably recommend for them not to do it. And I would also tell my mum about it.
That's really good. Really good.
Holly, do you have any specific advice yourself from what has happened?
I just think, as I say, we don't know that Archie's definitely done that, but Archie was a very daring child, so I can't rule it out. And it was I didn't know anything about these sinister online challenges, obviously, until this has happened. Then I've had lots of people flooding in with their children have been trying things, and it seems to be a lot more popular, and the children are aware of it. I think it's actually us adults that are a bit behind, so I think maybe it would be really good if the children start maybe starting these conversations with your parents to make your parents aware that they are actually going on. I think that if I would have had this conversation with Archie, if I knew about these challenges, then Archie possibly could still be here today. So I think maybe have the conversation with your parents, get the word out with the parents. So I think you children, you're growing up with, obviously everything's online. Most of us adults are a bit slow, unfortunately.
Yes.
Barely know how to use the computer.
I know, it's difficult. How about, can we ask from Micklefield Primary, we've got Lucy and Patrick. I'm wondering, Lucy and Patrick, if you could come online and give us your thoughts about some of this. Do you think it would be easy to get talked into doing something you didn't want to do online?
Well, so what me and Lucy are thinking, Mr. Speaker, is that people online should not get consequences for posting these kind of dangerous challenges. I think the people who work at the online thing that they're using should moderate what that they are trying to post and see if it's meant for children or not.
And it's also really resistant because all of like the views people get, they really want to like be really popular, so they try to do it because of like peer pressure.
That's an interesting point, isn't it, Ollie? Yes.
Yeah, I think you've got some really interesting points there. Well done. I most definitely think that platforms need to take responsibility. I think that once children type in, from what I've been told, once children are typing in certain keywords, these things are coming up in your algorithms. So I think there is a link that your parents can use. I think it's only available on iPhone at the minute, and it's called Family Link, that your parent can put on the phone. I don't know if you've heard about this. You probably have. You seem more advanced than us parents, or some of us parents. Family Link, and that anything that's alarming that comes up in your algorithms, I believe it notifies your parents so they can put a block on it, which is obviously really good. With regards to what you said on children are doing these challenges for likes, peer pressure, etc. Yes, most definitely. I think that this whole how many likes people get on whether it's pictures or things that they're posting, it seems to be just a massive sort of competition, and obviously I think a lot of children are very competitive and they do like the likes. But I think it's very important to keep very mindful that not all these challenges, they're not safe. In fact, the majority of them aren't safe. A lot of them, they're not very nice either. So yeah, it's very alarming. It is alarming what is being allowed to be going on to our children's algorithms and things, and I most definitely agree the platforms do need to take responsibility for these. Also the people uploading the actual videos, because a lot of them, from what I've seen and from what I've witnessed and viewed so far, it's adults posting the content, which is quite disappointing, really. It's not children posting it, it's adults.
Thank you guys for your questions. I thought those were excellent questions. How about our people in Hartsbourne Primary? Do you have a question for Holly?
Well,
We got the group from Hartsbourne Primary School.
Hello.
Hi, do you have a question?
OMT.
I always hear from Hartsbourne Primary School to speak to you. Hello?
Oh, there you are. Hello.
Yeah, we have elders here who would like to say something about online and cyber danger.
So I sort of think that people should be getting outside more and not staying on their online devices more. Personally, I'm not a fan of going on devices, and I think it would be good if people were encouraged to go outside a bit more.
That's an interesting point. Holly, did you ever think that about Archie? Was he active outside as well as
Archie was extremely active. Archie was all about his fitness, so he was very he 24/7 trained. He trained 3 days a week with his gymnastics, and then another 2 days a week with his MMA. When he wasn't at his clubs training, he was at home training. He's very, very active, always climbing, I think, from the age of about 18 months old, which is why I put him in gymnastics, to try and keep him safe. And I just think that I've done everything I could to keep my children safe by keeping them off of the streets, really. However, it seems to be becoming increasingly more and more aware, or I'm being made more aware that it's actually that it's just as unsafe online, unfortunately. And I think this is why things need to come into play to safeguard you children.
Edie from Hartsville has some ideas about how we can safeguard children online.
I think that if there's like a child account on an iPad or a computer, there should be certain websites that for adults that they can't use. Like if the child tries to search it up, then it says it would say like something like, this website is not allowed. Like on my iPad, I'm not allowed to use YouTube. I don't really know why, but I guess my mum doesn't want me to. And like there should be like certain apps like TikTok, where it's like over 11 or like over 13. So I feel that there should be more restrictions to keep children safe online.
I totally agree. There should be more restrictions. The whole age thing, maybe an introduce ID that the parents have to obviously produce for the children to account that they are actually the age that the online, like whatever online app it is that the children are on, are requesting, i.e. if it's a 13, the parent maybe show the birth certificate. If it's an 18, obviously some form of photo ID.
Yeah, it's very awkward, isn't it? Thank you, all you guys, for your questions. What about Jude and Emily from Bars Court? Jude and Emily? You there, Jude and Emily? I think we're hearing you now.
The speaker.
Hi, guys.
Can you hear us all right?
Yes, I can hear you. Is that Jude I'm speaking to?
Emily.
Emily. Hi, Emily.
Hi. We would like to make our point about online safety. We think that cyberbullying should be erased off the internet by making fines for someone who does something rude to someone who's younger than them. As otherwise it's going to get bad and someone's going to do something that's going to make them regret it in their life.
Yep. I don't think we can deny that, can we? That it would be good if we can get to that stage. Holly, you've become sadly quite an expert, I expect, on all these things in very difficult circumstances. If you could give the children, one primary piece of advice about online safety, what would you pick that to be? What would be your main piece of advice?
I think don't ever try anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. If anyone's making you feel uncomfortable or under pressure, again, you don't do it. Go and tell somebody. If it's not your parents, tell a teacher, tell your sports coach, tell your best friend. Hopefully your best friend will then tell their parent, and then they can tell obviously your parent. Just keep safe. It's quite a scary place, the internet. And although it has its fun points, obviously all your computer games and things that are great, it's also got it's got not so nice side to it.
Nanus means they're in.
Yes. Can we just close our mics off, guys? Just silence your mics if you could, guys. Thank you. And Yeah, I think that's a really good point. You know, it is a dangerous place, isn't it? But talking to people, I think, is what Holly's saying.
Most definitely, and I think
yeah.
be very mindful when you're adding people that you don't know. It's very easy for somebody to say, "Oh, I'm 13. I live in your area. You know, do you want to meet up?" And it's very easy for somebody to do that. You know, unless you actually know these people personally. I think just don't add them. Just don't add them.
Right.
Keep safe.
Thank you. Well, Holly, look, thank you for your time. I know
you.
we were all rooting for Archie back in the summer, and
thank you.
I know you've been through an awful time, and to come here and help make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else, I think is extremely courageous. And thank you very much for coming on the Children's Parliament. And
thank you very much.
And good luck with the messages I know that you want to send.
Thank you, and keep up the good work, kids.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you so much for that. That was really very, very informative and useful from someone who really knows what this is all about. So let's continue back into our debate, please, about online safety. So we'll just take some general points following up on what we heard from Archie's mum. We've got Jessica from Purton Stafford, or is it the second? Okay. Jessica, are you there from Purton Stafford?
Hello.
Hello, Jessica. How are you today?
I'm okay, thank you.
Good. What point would you like to make?
There's an acronym that we use at school, and it's called SMART.
Oh yeah, and how does that work?
It stands for things. The S stands for safe. The R stands for no.
The M.
M stands for meeting. A stands for accept. R stands for respect, and T stands for tell.
So that's go on. Sorry.
When you use them all together in your online safety, then it keeps you safe and you stay safe online.
That's a really interesting way of looking at it. And the last part, it all goes towards T for tell, doesn't it? Which is exactly the point that Archie's mum was making a few minutes ago, isn't it?
Yeah. So
that's a lovely way of thinking of it. Thank you for sharing that with us. Oscar from Milford-on-Sea.
Hi, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to say that when I go online, my mum always says that I have a limited time limit and that I'm not allowed to just go on whenever I want. Otherwise, I might be shown to bullying. So whenever I play games, my mum always makes sure that I'm on a mode where no one can message me or anything. Otherwise, I may be cyberbullied.
How interesting. So she limits your time, and you sound like you agree with her. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely.
And does that help you, does it?
Yes, it makes me feel safer, and it makes me feel that I'm not going to be given any of these messages that will make me feel concerned about anything online.
How lovely. Okay, that's a really good point. I like the way that you're supporting the adults in helping you and not trying to battle them on the decisions they make. I think if everyone works together, it's just my opinion, and then everyone's going to be stronger and safer, aren't they? So
yeah,
what
definitely.
a great point. Thank you so much. Catherine Rice from Newton C of E Primary, are you here with us?
Hi. I feel it's important that children are educated in online safety.
That's interesting. And who do you think should be doing that educating, Catherine? Catherine, you still there? I think you might be muted, Catherine. You there? You can now, yes. Catherine, go ahead.
I feel it's important that children are educated in this matter and that they have someone to talk to. If they don't want to talk to someone face to face, they have somewhere that they can put their worries or put down what they want to tell someone about. They don't necessarily have to speak to someone.
That's interesting. We're going to back continually to this idea of talking, aren't we? And Catherine, who do you think should be educating you to online safety? You know, your teachers, your parents, who do you think should be educating you?
I think it can be both, because in school, if you're doing anything on like IT, I feel like you should be educated before you go on to them. And at home, if you're playing games and things, then your parents might need to educate you on that as well.
Excellent. What a good, mature thought, and well put. Thank you so much, Catherine. How about Lucy from Longley School? Lucy from Longley School.
Thank you. I would like to say that sometimes people have like fake usernames that look like other people's usernames, so that it looks like they're somebody else, but they're not.
Right, and why do you think they're trying to look like somebody else?
So maybe that somebody friends them, or somebody talks to them or something.
And do you think sometimes adults are trying to be somebody else?
Yes.
Does that worry you?
Yes, a little bit, but I don't ever friend somebody that I don't personally know.
Good. Okay. Thank you. Excellent. We've got Una and Esme. I think wanted to make a point. Una and Esme. See if we can see Una and Esme. Give them a couple of secs. Well, I can see lots of people online I've already talked to. It's good to know I've talked to some of you.
When
Una and Esme. Go on.
When you are searching, you should be careful at what you search, and you should also be careful where you're searching. You should always be on a trusted website.
Excellent. Good. And how do you check that? Do you have any advice for us on how you checked when you're on a trusted website?
Maybe if there was a little, because sometimes there's a little lock at the top, and if you look at that and if it's closed, it means it's a trusted website.
You sound like quite an expert there. That's very good. Thank you. Thank you for your point. George from Blowers Green. George from Blowers Green.
Thank you. I believe that online grooming should be prioritised as well, because it can cause trust issues in people, in children, and cause trauma.
Good. Yes, and that leads back into mental health, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And happy, because that's great. Good point. Interestingly, someone wrote to us. Eva from Cramlington Village Primary. She had an interesting point to make, but I don't know if she's online. Are you online, Eva? From Cramlington Village Primary?
Yeah, I'm here.
You made a point when you wrote to us, didn't you, about age? Can you make that?
So, Mr. Speaker, my question is that many children are often using apps on their mobile devices that are not exactly age appropriate. And what could be done to maybe protect children's safety online even further, so that they can only see age appropriate content?
And how do children get onto non-age appropriate content?
Well, from experience, I know that quite a few of my friends actually, or people that I know, have access through family members' phones and devices onto those apps that maybe
even though they're sometimes set onto private, you can still see inappropriate content.
Right. And if you weren't truthful about your age, would that be picked up, do you think?
I don't think it would be picked up by the app because there's nothing really that filters the videos or content that goes on there as to how old you are.
Right. And does that worry you?
Yes, it does actually quite a bit because people can see things that are not meant to be seen by them and maybe only meant to be seen by people that are quite a lot older than them. So
Right.
it worries me.
Excellent. Well made point and well spoken again. Thank you. Daisy and Skylar. I think you had a point to make. Daisy and Skylar.
Yeah, I was thinking we could improve education about online safety.
Oh, so you're another one for education, are you? And do you get much education on online safety at your school?
A bit, but we kind of just get taught the same thing every year.
And so you think it should be improved. Do you have any sort of ideas of how it could improve?
Like a few people have said, I know a few people who have went on apps, like have downloaded them and have said they're a different age because they're not the actual age they're supposed to be.
Yeah, and that's a big issue, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It really is. It's interesting that you're all picking it up, and I like the way in which you're trying to help the adults in your lives to help you, and I think that's really powerful. Eliza from Sacred Heart School. Eliza?
Hi.
Hi.
I would like to speak about people who are pretending to be other people online and how it should be stopped, because you could think you was talking to your friend when really you were talking to a complete stranger, and they could ask to meet up with you, which is really dangerous.
Wow, you've got into a really important, I think, aspect of internet safety, and something that I think is often called grooming, isn't it, as a concept? And this is adults posing as children. So thank you. That's a really powerful point. I wonder if anyone can follow up on that point. I think Miss E. Robinson, is it a teacher who's got a point to make? Is that right? Well, that's the teacher, Miss Robinson.
Mr. Speaker.
Hi, who am I speaking to?
This is Eva and Eric. Our teacher is over there.
Yes, it's just her name appeared on the screen. That's why we
Yes,
couldn't get hold of
we
it.
can find out how to change her name. Sorry.
Okay, go for it. I don't think Miss Robinson wants her name changed anyway, so go on.
Mr. Speaker, not just children, but parents should be more aware of what children are looking at online. For example, an 8-year-old having an above age restricted account on social media and the parent not knowing what their child is watching online, but the child not understanding who they're talking to. The companies who run these social media platforms should be more aware of what is online. For example, putting warnings on their online platforms and creating above age restrictions so children cannot watch or play things not suitable for them.
What a great point. So you really want the companies to take responsibility for, keeping people safe, and that I think is a point nobody could argue with. Anyone else who's got to follow up? George from Pipworth South.
I think that children should not be on some social media that's above their age, and also doing silly challenges that are just mean.
Yeah, I think that goes back to the Archie Battersby debate, doesn't it? That his mum was talking about. And I don't suppose you've ever experienced that yet, have you?
No.
No, but it's something that concerns you, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you for that point. I've got who was it? Omar from John Locke Academy. He sort of had another direction to go in. Is Omar online? Because he was another one who messaged us. before we started. You online, Omar?
I'm Omar Rani from John Locke. Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So again, talking about the online safety and things like this, I think inappropriate ads and etc. shouldn't be on children's computers, because especially on very used apps, which even children on a very low age use. This hasn't personally happened to me, but it happens to many people. So I think we could change that.
Excellent. So the inappropriate ads that come up are very important. And again, I like that you're trying to get involved in that. How about Arvin again? Arvin, do you have any sort of more points on internet safety you'd like to make?
Yes. First of all, I'd like to say that when you download apps, you can get parents' approval. So therefore, if you get inappropriate apps, and then your parents can just say, you can just deny it. So therefore, you won't be able to get the app.
Right. Yeah, it's a good point. Now, there's a lot of people sort of saying this. So there are ways of keeping you safe. And I don't know which.
Mr. Speaker, you've been muted.
I think you double tapped.
Mr.
Speaker. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. So we're looking for Hannah. Is there a Hannah online? We can't see a school, but Hannah had a point to make. I think you're muted. I think you're muted.
She's not. She has unmuted.
Oh, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. Oh, no, now you've got muted again. Sorry.
Stop.
That's it. That's it.
My name is actually Tamia from Chiltern Primary School, but we can actually change our name.
Change the name. I know that happens. Yes, go on.
Mr. Speaker, are you aware of danger posed to children online? As many as 500,000 predators on the internet pose a threat to children daily, 1 in 25 children being manipulated into meeting an unknown predator in person. These people can contact children through social media platforms, games, YouTube, among other things, and slowly over time lead them to think they can be trusted and even as a friend. While statistics say that children aged 12 to 15 are most vulnerable to online predators, children of all ages are being increasingly exposed to devices such as tablets, laptops, and phones, meaning children of all ages are at risk. Of course, the internet has great uses and advantages for children learning.
Well, we lost you a bit. That's a shame because
we got another laptop. It died.
Okay, that was quick.
Of course, the internet has great uses and advantages for children learning and its valuable tools. However, more needs to be done to ensure children's safety on the internet. So far, all advice for protecting children online aimed at parents policing devices and educating their children. But Mr. Speaker, I propose there should be more done to prevent online predators posing as children in the first place. I think more rules should be set by the government in the way people access games, social media, etc. on the internet, whilst people are to put their date of birth into some online platforms. I believe this is not enough, as it easily falsified. Therefore, I propose identities must be proven via an online link to the database bank details to ensure the dates match, and should be mandatory for all online platforms. and makes predators easier to track and punish. Mr. Speaker, I believe more research and resources need to be invested to protecting children online by making it more difficult for predators to contact children in the first place. Does the House agree?
Thank you. That's very well put. And you said 1 in 25 people. And how many people are in your class, for example?
29.
You're muted,
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, you're muted.
You're muted.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Speaker.
You're muted.
You're muted.
You're muted.
You're muted.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Mr. Speaker, you're muted. You are
Can you hear me now?
You mean?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, well, I think time's catching up with us here, unfortunately. So we're going to go to our second vote on, and the question on the vote here is, of course, what do you consider the most important issue to be tackled for online safety? And you've got a choice between cyberbullying, adults posing as children, which is called grooming, identity theft, offensive material, and peer pressure. So take a second to go on your screen now and make your vote so that we can get some information. Now, a lot of this information is going to be shared in the national media and press. And obviously a report on this whole Parliament goes to the Prime Minister to give your views. So please make sure you give your views so we can see exactly what we're talking about. And there's a group of us actually down here going on radio, on BBC Radio at 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow to tell people about what happened on the Parliament today. So lots of things happening around the Parliament. So please make your votes. And the discussions on this group have been excellent, and I met with a lot of people, some very important people over the summer who listened to the Students' Parliament, some editors of national, big charity representatives and politicians, and they listen to this and they say they're always so impressed about how polite and ordered you are. And I think that's a huge compliment to the Children's Parliament. And if you watch some of the activities in Westminster, and you compare yourselves and how you hold your debates, I think you can be very proud of yourselves. You've done an excellent job. And I'm so sorry that a lot of you didn't get to speak. I mean, we got through quite a few today, but there are almost 300 people online today, and it's not going to be possible for everyone to speak. But I do really appreciate your time and appreciate everything that everyone has said. And we'll go through the online chats and come up with and I've got the results, just so you know. I mean, I'll send the results to your school of the first vote. The most important thing for Prince Charles to concentrate on, 61% of you, which was the highest, went for climate change. And second was human rights. So interesting, those people who talked about the environment a lot, that seemed to be the opinion that most of you had. We don't have the result of the second one. We don't have the result of your second one, but I do send a full report to all your schools. It takes a few days to get it organised. So you will see that very, very soon. And tomorrow is the anniversary of the death of our founder, Sir David Amos. So I hope he'll be in your thoughts and prayers tomorrow. A very important and lovely man. And thank you once again for being on the Children's Parliament, going from strength to strength. And hopefully I'll see you all soon. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.